Alrighty, good afternoon, Arkansas. This is the Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron back here once again. I'm here to give you guys an update on what to expect as we get towards tomorrow. We have that slight risk in effect for much of Arkansas at this point. But before we get into that, folks, we are going to talk about what's going on across the natural state here, guys. And we've been talking about this with our 7-day outlook. Today is going to be very. Stay here. I did not mean to do that. But yeah, temperatures today will definitely be in the upper 80s, low 90s, and then we have the wind gusts today as well here. And I was telling you guys about that wind gust potential as well here, guys. So bear with me for just a bit. Let me get this up and going. So give me 1 second here, waiting for some more folks to come in as well. But give me 1 second here, and we'll go ahead and switch this over. So we're good to go here, okay? So as I said before, this is what we got going at this point here, guys. If you're just now tuning in, we have this. We have the wind gusts at this point here. We're talking about wind gusts right now, 20 to 30 miles per hour across northern Arkansas here. Temperatures right now in the upper 80s, low 90s here. But we do have that severe threat as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that as well. So this is the severe threat for tomorrow if you're just now tuning in here. So we had a slight risk in effect for much of northern, northeastern, central, and then down into southwestern Arkansas. This is primarily going to be for the potential damaging winds and hail once again. However, I cannot rule out an isolated tornado or two, especially up there in northern Arkansas as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. So if you're just now tuning in, be sure to monitor our page for updates and stuff like that. We're not only live on Facebook, but we're also live on YouTube as well here. And also, while you're at YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us as well so you guys aren't missing anything at this point here, okay? So before, if you're just now tuning in, we do have that slight risk in effect for much of Arkansas, the marginal risk for northwestern Arkansas and the southeastern Arkansas. We were talking about this a couple of days ago, how most of the guidance was suggesting a lot of strong to severe thunderstorms as we get towards tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening with the cold front that's going to be moving through. And you guys are going to see that here in just a little bit with the Futurecast. So this is the large hail threat for tomorrow. I said before, same area, northern Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas, down to southwestern Arkansas, the slight risk in effect. Then you have northwestern and southeastern Arkansas on a very low risk at this point. But keep in mind that this may change a little bit depending on the overall evolution of the line of storms that's going to form as we get towards tomorrow here, okay? And then this is the damaging wind threat, same as the large hail threat as well. Slight risk for much of Arkansas at this point. Northwestern Arkansas, you guys will be dealing with it probably around first thing tomorrow morning. Southeastern Arkansas, you'll be dealing with it late tomorrow evening and into the overnight hours tomorrow night. And then as said before, up there in northern Arkansas from Fayetteville to Russellville down towards Conway to Jonesboro to Pocahontas, up here in northern Arkansas, you're going to have to watch for that isolated tornado potential. Now, it's a very low risk. I think the damaging wind and hail threat will kind of overpower the tornado threat. However, if any cells kind of get going ahead of the line, you may see an isolated tornado or two up here in northern Arkansas. So keep that in mind up there. So before, that's going to go from the Fayetteville area over towards Russellville along Interstate 40, down towards Conway, over to Jonesboro, up into northeastern Arkansas, up there in northern Arkansas and northwestern Arkansas. That's where that area of concern for that low-end tornado potential as we get towards tomorrow. So keep that in mind, folks. Stay with us. Also, have a way to get warnings. I know a lot of people, especially tomorrow during the weekend, are going to be out camping, etc. A lot of outdoor plans. So make sure you have a way to get warnings. Make sure you have a way to stay with us, guys. That way, if we go live or anything like that, you'll have those updates coming at you guys, okay? So just keep that in mind here. Just to say before, if you're just now tuning in, this is what we have at this point. Slight risk for much of Arkansas now. We were in the marginal risk earlier, slight risk in effect at this point. Northwestern Arkansas, first thing in the morning. Southeastern Arkansas, late in the evening here. And I'm going to take a look at the 18Z HRR here in just a little bit, Cam. We're going to go over that here in just a second here. But I'm going to show you guys Futurecast at this point. So I'm going to switch this over. My face is going to disappear for just a little bit. But this is what we have for our Futurecast at this current time here. So if you're just kind of tuning in, trying to figure out what timing is going to be at this point, I'm going to show you guys that graphically here, okay? So I'm going to back this up just a little bit so you guys can see. So this is going to be this afternoon and this evening here. There may be a couple of storms up there in northwestern Arkansas that's going to get going. All right, and then you're going to see right around, I would say, this evening into the overnight hours, you're going to see that line of storms kind of getting going at this point. So I'm going to back this up just a little bit, let this play through. and then you're going to see Civil 4. So that's to this afternoon, this evening, up there in northern, northwestern Arkansas. There's going to be some storms that's going to fire over there in Texas and Oklahoma. That's going to move due northeast into western and northwestern Arkansas. So just kind of keep that in mind up there. Mainly a large hail and a damaging wind potential up there as we get towards this evening and into the overnight hours. However, we will monitor it very closely, okay? And then we're going to take this out just a little bit. As you can see, that activity dies off. And then here we are as we get towards first thing tomorrow morning. Not much going on across the natural state at this current time here. You can see a couple of showers getting going. Not much going on first thing tomorrow morning. It's going to be very warm. It's going to be very humid across the natural state. And yes, I do see the comments as well. We've been talking about that with our 7-day forecast. Today, the wind was really going to pick up. That's as a result of the cold front beginning to make its way down into Arkansas. So we do have wind gusts 25 to 35 miles per hour. Those are non-thunderstorm winds. But that is as a result of the cold front beginning to make its way down into Arkansas as we get towards late tonight and especially today, tomorrow here. But you can see this is first thing tomorrow morning, not much going on here. And then you can see by the time we get towards the afternoon hours, so you start seeing some cells go up across northwestern Arkansas here. Some of those cells kind of represent that tornado threat. They're going to have to watch that tornado threat up there in northern and northwestern Arkansas as you get towards tomorrow afternoon, because the storms kind of fire all by themselves ahead of the line. Those are the storms that you're going to have to watch, try to isolate tornado potential here. And then you can see by the time we get towards 5 o'clock, and I can stop it right here, you can see about 6, 7 o'clock, those storms really start getting going up there in northern, northwestern Arkansas, down into western Arkansas as well. And that's as a result of the cold front beginning to make its way into Arkansas at this point here. This is going to bring a lot of cooler and drier air into the state as well here. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then as we get towards 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, you can see that a lot of storms beginning to make its way down into central Arkansas. So right now, per timing, and I'm going to take a look at the high-res HR here in just a little bit. But right now, per timing, we're saying about 7 to 10 o'clock tomorrow evening for much of the natural state, and then down in the eastern and southeastern Arkansas, it's going to be right around midnight to the overnight hours here. So this is going to be a late afternoon, evening into the overnight time frame for the potential of seeing severe weather, damaging winds, hail, and I cannot rule out that isolated tornado potential as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. So please keep that in mind as well. And you can see by our wind streamlines right here, you can see the frontal boundary begin to make its way down into Arkansas. Behind it, northerly winds. Ahead of it, southerly to southeasterly winds here. So keep that in mind for tomorrow here. That's the line of storms that's going to be pushing through Arkansas as we get towards late tomorrow evening and into tomorrow night here. And then we can see by the time we get towards midnight, that line of storms begins to make its way down into eastern Arkansas and the southeastern Arkansas here. So timing right now, I would say for central Arkansas, 7 o'clock till 10. And in eastern Arkansas, we're talking right around that 10 o'clock to after midnight time frame here. And then that line of storms will begin to move its way down into eastern and southeastern Arkansas here. So, Cam, I do see the HR and 18Z guidance. It has sped up. We're going to have to watch that very closely. And so for this is our Futurecast right now. That may be tweaked as we get towards this evening and into the overnight hours here, guys. Just kind of keep that in mind across the board here. But the guidance continues to show that line of storms beginning to move its way through. So I would say the damaging wind threat will be the primary threat as we get towards tomorrow. The isolated tornado threat up there in northern and northwestern Arkansas as well. So we're going to have to watch that as we get towards tomorrow here. And I've had a lot of people ask me, is this going to be an enhanced risk day as we get towards tomorrow? I cannot rule that out, especially for the line of storms as they push through Arkansas as we get towards tomorrow here. So folks, I'm also seeing a lot of people not being able to tune in and stuff like that. So once the live stream is over, you can actually go through and rewind the live stream so you're not missing any kind of information here. But you can see the line of storms beginning to make its way through here, and then you can see some actual thunderstorms kind of get going behind the line itself down there in southern Arkansas as we get towards late tomorrow night and the first part of your Sunday morning here, okay? So keep that in mind here. Damaging winds will be the primary threat. We will have to watch out for large hail and that isolated tornado threat up there in northern Arkansas as we get towards tomorrow here, guys, okay? So, as said before, that's all I have for you guys at this point in terms of information. Now I'm going to start answering some questions because I'm getting a lot of people asking questions, especially about timing. So I'm going to let this loop through. And if y'all have any questions, please let me know here. So I'm seeing one comment about the graduation outdoors at 8:30. Tomorrow I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow morning. You should be relatively good to go across the natural state first thing tomorrow morning if it's 8:30. So just kind of keep that in mind here. Most of the storms are going to be during the afternoon, into the evening, and into the overnight hours here, okay? So I need you guys to do me a favor. If you know somebody that needs information, please send them to this live stream, guys. We get it all the time that we get severe weather. Not a lot of people know about severe weather until it actually happens. So please tag them in this live stream, guys. That way we can keep them informed on the latest here, okay? So this is what we have at this point. Cold front's going to be moving through. Cooler air behind this cold front as well here. And that's the one thing I'm going to stress to you guys as well. Going to be a kind of a shock to the system as we get towards Sunday, with temperatures kind of struggling to get to the 70-degree mark as we get towards your Sunday here. So it's going to be a little bit of a shock to the system. We've had upper 80s, low 90s. For the temperatures here, guys, and as we get towards Sunday, you're going to see that kind of shift over to the 60s and 70s here. So just kind of prepare yourself for that as we get towards Sunday. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions how does Sunday afternoon look. Sunday afternoon should be relatively good to go. Southern Arkansas, we may have some showers down there. The front of just going to stall out in Louisiana. But much of central and northern Arkansas, you should be good to go as we get towards Sunday afternoon here. Our primary concern is going to be as we get towards tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and into the overnight hours tomorrow night here, guys. And I still, Cam hit it right on the nail. We do have to watch out for that flash flooding potential as well as we get towards your Saturday evening and the Sunday time frame. Then we're going to have to watch that Monday and Tuesday time frame as well for additional shower and thunderstorm development as well here, guys. So flash flooding is definitely on the table over the next 7 days here. We're talking a good amount, seeing 4 to 6 inches of rain. Could be higher than that in some areas here, guys. So just kind of keep that in mind here. I'm going to switch this over. Bear me for just a bit. I'm going to try to switch this over so you guys can see our Futurecast here just a little, not Futurecast, the HR for just a little bit. Cam was hitting it right on the nail about it speeding up, and I'm looking at it right now. It has sped up just a little bit, so I'm going to try to switch this over and show you guys this graphically here. So let me go back here for just a bit, and there is the HR for just a second, and you can see this is the 18Z. I'm going to show you guys 18Z here in just a second, and we're going to show you guys that graphically. So this is some of the computer model guys I was telling you guys about, and this is what I mean here. So you got some storms that are going to go up in north and western Arkansas as we get towards the evening and the night here, okay? Keep that in mind for our folks up there in Bentonville and over towards Fayetteville. We may have some strong thunderstorms go up as we get towards the afternoon and this evening. Primary threat should be large hail and damaging winds. I am going to watch for that isolated tornado threat up there just as we get towards the afternoon and this evening, but I'm not expecting a total amount of severe weather up there as we get towards the afternoon and this evening. But you can see that pushes through. And then as we get towards first thing tomorrow morning here, you can see a squall line just basically moves through northern Arkansas here. And if you go with the HRR, this primarily shifts down into southern Arkansas here. And you can see the difference between our Futurecast and the HRR right now, where our Futurecast has it late in the day, where the HRR starts to thaw first thing tomorrow morning. So we're going to have to watch that close. I will say, if the HR does verify, it is going to wipe out much of your environment, and I think your severe threat will probably shift down into southern Arkansas, but we'll have to watch it closely here. But as you can see, northern Arkansas gets scrapped, and then central and southern Arkansas would have to deal with the severe threat as we get towards the late afternoon into the evening hours as we get towards tomorrow here. Now, regarding the tornado threat, I know everybody's kind of asking about the tornado threat as we get towards tomorrow. I will say the isolated tornado threat is there. I want everybody to focus. It's just like what happened on Sunday. The damaging wind and hail threat, once again, will be your dominant modes as we get towards tomorrow. I cannot rule out an isolated tornado or two as we get towards tomorrow as well here. Keep that in mind. Do not focus on just the tornado threat. The damaging wind and hail threat will be there as well here. We've all saw what happened on Sunday with the damaging wind threat. Several power outages, tree damage, etc. So keep that in mind here, but I'm not going to rule out that isolated tornado potential. But if you go with the HRR, I don't think you're going to see too much in the way of a tornado threat out of this unless you go probably south of this boundary that kind of sits up in central Arkansas as we get towards tomorrow here, okay? So we're going to have to wait and see on that, guys. Right now, you can see the overall difference between the two. But you can see right in here, let's go back over to your radar. for just a little bit here. So if you're wondering about timing, this is tomorrow afternoon. It's like 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And in southern Arkansas, you'd be dealing with this as we get towards late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening here. And you can see the line of storms just kind of gets going ahead of this. But mainly what would happen is the storms that form out in eastern Oklahoma this afternoon, this evening, would push through northern Arkansas, and it would wipe out northern Arkansas's severe threat for tomorrow. Then we have to watch central and in the southern Arkansas as we get towards tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. So right now, I would say we'll watch it real close. It will depend on what happens with the storms out west as we get towards tomorrow evening and into tomorrow night here, guys. Okay, so what about the rain and the flooding threat? Let's talk about that real quickly, guys. So before the flooding threat with this, let's talk about the heavy rainfall potential. Widespread 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, especially for our folks up there in northern Arkansas. Generalized area, ½ an inch, upwards to 3 inches of rainfall at some places. I think the flooding threat will start gradually increasing after tomorrow, because what's going to happen is the frontal boundary is going to pass through, temperatures are going to fall, and your frontal boundary is going to stall out, and you're going to have disturbances riding along the front, so you're going to have flooding threats all throughout the weekend and into the early part and mid part of the upcoming week here. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind here. I think tomorrow we will have to watch northern Arkansas for the flooding threat, but the flooding threat should gradually increase further and further as we get towards the early part of next week here, and we'll have you guys more information on that as well here. Okay, so right now, so before, this is what we're looking at this point. If you were to go with the HR, storms fire late this afternoon and this evening up here in northwestern Arkansas. I cannot rule out a few strong to severe storms up there in northwestern Arkansas. Then you can see the line of storms kind of get going across the area here. So this pushes through northern Arkansas first thing tomorrow morning, which would be great for you guys. You have to watch for that damaging wind threat. But then you can see down there in southern Arkansas, you'd have to watch that outflow boundary for the potential of some isolated cells that may get going. And I'm going to watch this close, because this is out ahead of the front, this is out ahead of everything, and those isolated cells down there may pose a tornado risk down there. We will watch it closely, guys. I feel as though the tornado threat with this is just a tad bit higher than what it was with Sunday's event here, because you got an outflow you're going to watch, you got southeasterly winds, localized shear and stuff like that. So I say the tornado threat is just a tad bit higher, not by much, but it's just a little bit higher than what we just got through dealing with that Sunday event with the squall line that kind of pushed through. But I still think the damaging wind and hail threat will be the dominant modes as we get towards tomorrow. I cannot rule out that isolated tornado threat or two. We'll watch it closely, guys. We'll keep you guys informed on that. So if you have any outdoor plans, especially tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, please keep in mind we do have a severe threat in place for much of Arkansas for tomorrow. We will keep you guys informed. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask me now. If you have any questions, I'm going to go over all the questions at this point. Timing wise, I would say anytime from tomorrow morning all the way to Sunday morning at this point. Specific timing, as you can see, there's a lot of model disagreement at this point. If you go with the HR, northern Arkansas, you start the ball first thing in the morning. This is 10 o'clock in the morning up here in northern Arkansas, and that pushes through. That's a damaging wind and hail threat right there. And then you'd have to watch southern Arkansas for that primary severe thunderstorm mode down there, hail, damaging wind, isolated tornado threat down there as well. So that'll be primarily after 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And then this should push through the entire state as we get towards your late Saturday and Sunday. And I will say this, if this develops, all this rainfall behind here, you will have to watch for that flooding threat down there in southern Arkansas as we get towards late tomorrow night and the early part of your Sunday morning. And then Sunday morning here across the natural state, widespread showers. No severe weather will be expected because the frontal boundary will be pushed through the state at this current point here, okay? So if y'all have any questions, please let me know. And that's going to be kind of a quick live stream and stuff like that. We're going to have more updates throughout the afternoon and in the evening. And so before, we're going to watch northwestern Arkansas, the marginal risk up there. Damaging wind and hail, primary threat. But if anything occurs, tornadic, we'll be here. We'll go live for that as well here, okay? So same thing about Pine Bluff. Same thing about everything else. Also, we do know about the wind as well here. That's as a result of the frontal boundary moving through. Let's show you guys that graphically real quickly, guys. All right, and this is the current wind gusts across the board. I started the live stream off with this, but we got wind gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. We were talking about this in the 7-day forecast on our page a couple of days ago, that as the frontal boundary begins to make its way through, you can see it, the frontal boundary kind of stalls out in northwestern Arkansas this afternoon. So the wind should start to lessen as you get towards the evening and into tonight. But as the front draws closer, the wind gusts are going to really pick up. 25 to 30 miles per hour. Could be some localized gusts across the board here. Okay, so if this shifts southward, will northern Arkansas still get rainfall? Yes. Everybody will still see rainfall across the board as we get towards tomorrow here. That's the number one thing I want to stress to you guys at this point. You will still see rainfall tomorrow. The flooding threat will still be there across northern Arkansas here, okay? So keep that in mind here. And as a matter of fact, Casey, I don't think we're in a drought across much of Arkansas. I think southern Arkansas, you have that limited drought, but much of the natural state, you're not in a drought at all. As a matter of fact, I think we're in a surplus, especially for our folks up there in northern Arkansas at this point. So you can't take too much of the way of rainfall at this point without it having any kind of flooding issues here. So same thing, Lacey, Israel County, same thing for tomorrow, guys. Flooding threat will be there, but the damaging wind and hail threat across the board, the tornado threat will be there as well. Let's go back over that real quickly, guys. And as you can see, this is the statewide severe weather outlook for tomorrow. Slight risk for much of northern, northeastern, down into southwestern Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, and southeastern Arkansas. I wouldn't be shocked to kind of see this slight risk expanded out. And I will say, depending on the overall guidance, we may see an enhanced risk go out for the potential damaging winds. I can't rule that out. It's kind of throwing back to what happened this past Sunday, where we had a squall line kind of push through the state, and that's where you had the damaging wind and the hail threat at this point. So I can't rule out a small enhanced risk area. We're going to watch it close. We'll have more information as we get towards the afternoon into this evening here. But this is what we have at this point here, guys. Slight risk for much of the state. Northwestern Arkansas up here, marginal, and then southeastern Arkansas, the marginal risk as well. There's large hail and damaging wind outlook, and as mentioned before, and I will say this, depending on overall guidance, I will not be shocked to see this come down in the central and the southern Arkansas. The very low risk for the potential of seeing a tornado or two as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for all the questions at this point. If y'all have any more, please let me know. I do appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know it's kind of 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. Most people are still at work, etc. But I do appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening and stuff like that, and sharing our graphics. That way everybody's informed and no one's blindsided during severe weather. Okay, so as before here, let me double check everything, make sure we're good in terms of questions. I'm not seeing any more, so I think that is going to be it. At this time here, I did see the HR, did speed up and stuff like that, guys. So before, if y'all have any more questions, please let us know. Feel free to message us as well. But this is the tornado risk for tomorrow here, okay? So we're going to watch northern Arkansas, and I'm really worried that we may be starting this off first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to watch it close. I will say with the HR, with that cluster moving through, I will watch northern Arkansas first thing tomorrow morning, and I will say this kind of pushes due south with the next couple of updates here, especially once we get a better idea on what the environment's going to look like as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys at this point. So if y'all have any more questions, feel free to message us. We're going to have more updates on the page and stuff like that. We're going to watch northwestern Arkansas this afternoon, this evening, and then much of the natural state as we get towards tomorrow here, guys. Okay, so we'll continue to keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.